Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the Afternoon Swing Trading Floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander, introducing with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. What is going on, my peeps and peoples, friends and fam from around the world? Chuck March in the building. What's up, buddy? Just messaged you. Jill, how's it going, girl? Julian, Keith, Mike Wilson, Nancy, Scott, Sharon, Tim, Alex, Bill. Mike Wilson saying, hey, everyone. Scott McKay says, hi, all. Julian says, hey. It's Finance Friday. What a week. Today was the busiest day of my life, I think. I think that was today. I just ate like 2 minutes. I'm almost exaggerating, 8 minutes before right now. That's when I ate for the first time today. Man, and it wasn't even the market. Well, it was. It was the market, people coming into town, coaching sessions I'd already scheduled. Plus, I'm trying to close on a house, and people are just needing all kinds of things. So much going on, but it's good. I like being busy. It makes time fly by. And it's always rewarding when it's over. And you're like, man, I did all that? Yeah. Feels good. Traded well today, I feel like. Had some swings get stopped out, and we'll look at those. But for the most part, I traded really well. Day traded at least. And that's pretty much it. So here's what we got going on. The SPY, it does look like we're about to be forming this little curvature here. So you got a cute little curve, a little movement, and white candle gapping up. Almost hit the 200 simple. Bearish engulfing type of candle, increasing volume. All I'm saying is it just has the recipe for a slow breakdown, a trade lower, and then again a filling of this gap. I can easily foresee that occurring, especially if we gap below or close below the low of today. Here's the Qs. And the Qs, look how beautifully it traded right to the 200. Look at that. So right to the 200, upper shadow. Today's a one black crow candle with volume increasing. And so again, if you played some puts on the Qs off the 200, kind of expecting that retest, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is an ugly evening star-esque type of pattern and kind of planning for some potential breakdown. Again, it doesn't have to happen, but I'll be watching. If it does break down, that's just going to be my sign to obviously buy some puts, quick, in and out, and just plan on most likely something like this happening, some form of that. Not really sure what it's going to look like, but the good news is Dr. Robert Falco bought him sold some puts, and those expired worthless and went to option heaven today on both the Qs and the SPY. Good job on timing those adequately. Here's the IWM, and the IWM today actually closed up. So again, what's good about this and what's really nice about this weekly chart is obviously we have the line in the sand for where the IWM should not be going lower than. And it could flash a wick below there. Obviously, by no means should we close below these levels. And if and when we do, we can more or less go, yeah, something's brewing. I mean, again, we could come out here and wick off of it, bounce off of it. That's totally fine. Just we really shouldn't close below here, especially a weekly close. If that happens, something's up. But again, I do think the bottom is in. I do think the standard rally is going to begin. And whatever pullback we get in the next 2-3 days or a week or so is viable, and just kind of look for it to continue slowly creeping higher. So I like the IWM, looks pretty. And here's the FAS, which is the 3X ETF for the financials. And again, certainly not saying we can't break down or we can't go lower. This is a really fun inside day candle. Let me rephrase, apologize. inside week, so an inside range candle. And a bunch of people probably shorted FAS last week on that breakdown. So if we hang out and we get another inside week next week, which is likely, and then we bounce out of here in another week and a half, which is likely, then it's going to be a good bull move. Some bears will be trapped, and you'll get some good movement. But yeah, it makes sense that we faded today. I think a lot of people knew that was likely going to happen. Bunch of white candles gapping up today, and just getting that fade, getting that retest. And that's really my thoughts on FAS. Perfect. Any broader market questions or concerns or thoughts, oppositional viewpoints, anything you're thinking of or wondering about that you need a question, need help with? Oh man, that's not good. Okay. Everyone good? All right, awesome. Let's dive in. First on the list, Adobesters. ADBE, Adobe. Adobe. And Adobe. Hanging out. Again, no idea what Adobe's doing. All I can say is if we get below or close below 231, you're going to want some protective puts. We retested the retest gap. We're at the 200 simple moving average. If you're playing Adobe, which again, I'm not personally, but if you are, it's kind of similar to the overall market, just in the sense that you have higher lows, lower highs, you know, a breakdown from here, and Adobe is going lower, and then a break out of here, and this is the spot where Adobe is going to bounce. So if anyone's playing Adobe kind of aggressively or actively, it is at the 200 simple on a daily chart, and yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on. So Adobe, just a bunch of consolidations and just hanging out, doing its thing, not too much. Trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. I don't think so. Nope. Next on the list, what do we got? Next on the list is Blue Apron, APRN. So Blue Apron, looking kind of interesting. Am I trying to pick the bottom on Blue Apron? Yes. Yes, I am. The weekly candle, you have a one white soldier with volume, morning star. I think we're going to try this one again. 99 cents. So it's not a lot of risk. And I mean, you could do a much looser stop if you wanted to. You could bring your stop all the way down to 45 cents. Have a dollar stop. And you can almost guarantee yourself you're going to lose less than an hour with the dollar, you know, with a dollar stop on this. And I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, theoretically, we could go all it. I mean, at some point, can make it back up to 10 and higher, kind of like what Etsy did. Is that really realistically going to happen? Probably not. When's earnings? I think they're over the weekend. Let me just go check. APRN, oh, they're November 14th. Okay. So another time where TradingView is not quite accurate on the earnings. Well, even if we get in over earnings and we have a really far stop, very similar to the last time we did it, where I was like, you know what, let's just get out before earnings just in case. It actually did gap and it continued higher and it was a nice move. If we put the stop all the way down here at 45 cents, I mean, even if it did gap down, it's only $1 of risk. It's not going to, I mean, it could gap down 20%. 20% at this point is 20 cents. And you still have tons of room before you hit your stop. So I'm game with that. $1.45 by 45. And I'll probably end up holding it over earnings just because the stop is so far away. I think we're going to be okay on that. So today is the 2nd, 2018, APRN, and looking at $1.45 by 45 cents. You play just shares. I think it's a good trade based on a gap and go, and it's open because it's not triggered yet. I'll throw that in here. Sweet. Okay, Blue Apron, done. What's real interesting is this TLT. Treasury bonds team made a real interesting low today. Look at this weekly chart. So this is the weekly. You had a flag pattern. You almost had a perfect tweezer bottom. 2 pennies away from a perfect tweezer bottom on the weekly. We closed below there. And on a monthly chart, look at this monthly. So the monthly, it looks like you're breaking down out of some weird head and shoulders pattern. We broke through this support. There was a time not too distant in the past when I was looking at doing a spread on TLT, and I'm glad I didn't. It was a bull put spread, and I just waited because the premium wasn't there. But yeah, we broke pretty strongly down. I know some of you like playing the treasuries, and looks like it's going a little bit lower. Falco says, as rates go up, this goes down, correct? Correct. It's not an exact correlation, but it's fairly close. So yeah. So the Treasury 20-year, I mean, it's got a little bit lower to go. A possible hedge, I've mentioned that before. TLT can be a little bit of a hedge or an interesting position to have, as it usually will do some different things than just the broader markets. As you can see, it does look a little bit more on the bearish side. So if you're looking for a bear trade, maybe even a longer swing, something to practice some puts on, it could be TLT. I mean, I like the trend, looks good. Daily chart, I mean, had a really decent breakdown today. So you just look to buy some puts on a pullback or a retracement, or if you're short, or however you're playing it, but I would just look to be bearish on TLT. Here's Fitbit, FIT, and Fitbit posted a really interesting candle. Fitbit had a retest gap, and here's the weekly chart. It did close above the 100 simple on a weekly. And what's also kind of cool to note is you are making lower lows. And so this is another lower low that I'm sure trapped some people somewhere. Really good volume, and just like last time, we don't have to break above this. But last time we did not close above the 100. I'm still kind of shocked that Fitbit is as low as it is, and I know a lot of people are looking at Fitbit as an opportunity to make some bullish money. I don't necessarily disagree with them. Highs of these two candles are the exact same, and it is a retest gap, so I would love just some type of gap down or inside candle or something on Monday. So I'm just going to write that in. What's today? 11/2/18. Inside day candle or rest, retracement, something. Just going to wait just to see what she does. Monday is Mentorship Monday, and all things considered, I should be good to go. I might have to exit early or something if I have a signing on that exact day. I don't know the exact time frames on some stuff yet, but it should be all just status quo for Monday. However, Fitbit, I think we should certainly keep our eyes on. So I'm going to put that on the list for Monday morning and maybe even watch it for a day trade. I mean, you know, Fitbit, if it does gap down and just really crush that higher, I'd really prefer to buy it on a dip. But the problem is Fitbit's been so weak recently, it dips a lot. So I like the volume. I do like the candle. And I like the fact that they got the exact same highs. So anyway, I'm going to watch Fitbit. Mostly waiting because it's a retest gap. It's up a lot over the last week. And if I do take a breakout on it, since it is a retest gap, I won't be holding that breakout very long. And I just really prefer to buy a little bit more of a dip. So I'm just going to be patient, going to put it on a list and watch it closely. Welcome to Southwest Airlines. LUV. Might have to keep waiting for this one a little bit longer. I don't think we're going to get the pullback at least tomorrow. If you did buy this one off of the 200 on a weekly, congrats. It was around 48, 84, something like that. Just depends on how you would have played it. You most likely would have gotten in on the 30th when it broke down and then broke above and really popped right here. It made that afternoon pop. And then it popped again yesterday. And so, yeah, I like it on a pullback if you're getting in bullish. And similar to the market, you can have a decent line in the sand for Southwest. You'll know which candle it should not close below. Nice lower wick, good volume, good support price, really interesting level. Going to be fun to watch. All right, that's Southwest. Here's Delta. And Delta, yeah. So I wanted this one to do kind of a little bit about what it did, but that's not bad. That's almost perfect. So DAL, I like this little pattern. I like the retest. I like the hourly shape. We're going to make that official on Delta. 50, 633. Come over here, 11/2, 2018. DAL, 56.33 with a stop loss of 54.60. Some of you are already in Delta, those who trade Delta or the airlines kind of actively. And I can totally dig that. I just like this hourly setup, right? It gapped up, filled the gap, and then he hung around for a few, for a few hours. Moving averages are doing this thing. So here's a daily chart. I mean, granted, I would have liked to have gotten in a little bit lower. Obviously, lower is better, but you got a white candle gapping up. Moving averages are about to curl. Here's the weekly time frame. Weekly chart, you got a new white soldier with volume increasing. So, yep, I like that on Delta. Looks pretty. And I was talking about yesterday, Spirit Airlines, SAVE. And Spirit had its pop today, especially on the 5-minute. Now, it ran up pretty quickly. I didn't have time to catch this one. I tried, I looked at it, and just kind of ran without me, never retested. So if you did catch this one's just from yesterday. It actually did retest, and I didn't even think about setting up a limit buy. That's my bad. Here's the hourly chart, and the hourly, looks good. If you wanted to set up a limit buy on Spirit. The interesting thing about today's candle is a new 52-week high. It's the highest it's been all year. In fact, this is the highest it's been since July 2017. So trying to see if there's anything else wonderful about it. Look at that beautiful bounce off of 33.15. What a support level that is down there on Spirit. Yeah, I mean, overall, I can just see it slowly pulling in to about $60 and some change. That would make a decent amount of sense. Anyway, new high. I mean, if you're not in, I would just buy a dip on Spirit. And realistically, you probably would do like a half an hour at 52.90 or 52.89 and another half an hour where this level is, just in case the market does pull back and do something weird, and then kind of put your stop a little bit lower. So kind of like halfway get in, half an hour here, and a stop below the 20, just in case that retest gap retests harder than you want. Had a few traders request Petro Brazil and PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon, still hanging out. We're at a weekly resistance. This is a retest gap on a weekly chart, and I'm just kind of waiting for that retest gap to fill. So as of yet, it hasn't. I know earnings is around the corner. It would actually make kind of a decent amount of sense if PBR gaps down a little bit on earnings, which they've done before, and fill this gap. Let me just verify PBR's earnings. PBR. November 6th, which is Tuesday. Yep. So definitely right around the corner. What's cool though, I mean, I'm not saying it has to gap down by any means. You know, if I was playing Petro Brazil and we gapped up, oh man. If PBR gaps above 1732 on earnings, it's going to run. It's a really good gap. A lot of bears will be trapped. And I know there's a few of you who like playing Petro Brazil, so if that's the case, you go ahead and kind of mark your calendars for the 6th. If it gaps down, it probably fills this gap and then bounces. And if it gaps up, you know, above that level, it probably just runs. So that's it. That's all I have on Petro Brazil. Micron Technology, ticker symbol MU. So MU got a little bit of a buying candle today. A little bit of a higher high, which is good. Still got the put sale. Sorry, not the put sale. Where did my protective put trigger go? That's weird. I do not remember deleting that. Well, anyway, I got some long puts, which obviously I kind of hope they expire worthless. Usually when I buy protective puts, I automatically just envision them going to zero anyway. You know, that's kind of my pessimistic viewpoint. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, if it goes lower, then let it go lower. You know, that's totally fine. But I want it to go higher. That's my goal. And I'm gonna move Falco. I'm gonna move your put sale. So just keep me posted on that one. But with this little bounce in here, I'm looking for it to hopefully go a little bit higher. But I do plan on selling a covered call on Micron. You got back above the 100 simple on a weekly, which is wonderful. I probably will end up selling a $50 covered call because that would, if I got exercise, would still be $5 per share profit. And that would be nice. The question is just really the expiration, and I'll probably end up doing December. So December 50 is going to pay about 47 cents, and I'm likely going to do that Monday morning sometime. So MU, December, covered call. So just know that, kind of my plan. I like the fact that we close above. I dig it. Pretty decent candle. And again, the protective puts, they just help you sleep at night. If those expire worthless, which they probably will, I already made some money, as you all know, on the first set of protective puts and also snagged a share or two off of the 100. So that's already happened, and I'm already in the money on those positions. This protective put, I'm going to lose on. But what I have now is I have kind of like this line in the sand where it's like, okay, now I have my base, and if this gets taken out, I can buy some more puts. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it chop around here. Hopefully, I just do a bunch of covered calls, keep getting, you know, expirations, expiring worthless, and then I eventually get called away for above 45. And that'll be that. And then I'll go and do another one. Not really worried. So, MU, $50 I'm going to put on here, and I'll publish that and everything, most likely December. Okay, Julian says, do you have time for Apple and JD? I thought they were on the list. Yep, here's JD, and I will add Apple. All right, now the good news is here's Square, ticker symbol SQ. And Square, my boy Julian had a covered call that expired worthless. Hooray, Julian. Well done, buddy. So Julian's expires worthless. Also, I had some $70 and some $55 put sales that expired worthless. So congratulations. for those. And as I mentioned on Tuesday, I think this is the low on Square, and ever since then, we've just been bouncing. What now on Square? Well, now we're at a resistance. So now, I mean, if I zoom into an hourly chart, it's like an oh so obvious thing. So if I hop in here to an hourly, check this out. So hourly, pretty good resistance. And so here we are. So if you're buying some protection, you probably bought around here as far as puts, that is, over earnings. I mean, I know some of you still have some shares or some put sales. So if you're buying protective, remember your protection, your initial plan is for that to be a sunk cost. You're envisioning that just going to zero. And when you buy them high, right? When the market's nice and high, you get in some puts because it's a lot cheaper. And I know right now that the puts are kind of expensive. I get that. So it just kind of comes down to what is it you're trying to do. But as of right now, let's say that you wanted some protection at 70. It only cost you $2.19 for a $70 November 16. And I want them to go to zero. That's kind of my plan. I go, okay, puts, I'm going to lose $2.19. All you need for Square to do is go up to $80 exactly per this math, exactly $80, and you're breaking even. So with protective puts, I like to buy them high. So I don't have any shares on Square. I have nothing on Square right now. You could be buying these puts, but I don't really need to because I'm going to sell some puts over earnings, right? I'm going to sell them, hopefully on a down day, hopefully on Monday. But just throwing that out there, my goal is when you're doing an option, it's just math. Okay, figure out how much you're buying and how much you need the equity to go up to start breaking even. And if you bought a protective put, and let's say Square did roll over and trade down and get back down to 65, this put would be worth like, I don't know, $6. And then you sell that put and bring in a $4 profit. So let's say you only do one contract, $400 profit, $400. You can buy more shares of Square at 65, if that happened. Not a whole heck of a lot of shares, but you're buying 5 more shares ish, approximately. And it's like, okay, I get it. Not that much, but you got more. And then you slowly start building. So from there, let's say it bounces and it trades up and it trades back up to resistance. You rinse and repeat. Buy some puts up here. If it rolls over, same thing. And you just kind of start accumulating. And then when you get up to this resistance, you get 100, and you have enough to do covered calls and the protective put. And then if you can do a covered call that pays $2.19 for a put option, then you're good to go. So what covered call could possibly do that? Well, if I'm looking at a $90 December covered call, pays $2.85. 90. So you're getting, again, that pays for your insurance now. So now you have no insurance costs. And if it goes to 90, you make money. And if it rolls over, you make money. This is a win-win. That's what I refer to as a win-win. Especially if you have bought Square lower than where it is right here. And even more so if you bought it below 70. By the way, I know everyone's waiting for this course. Hedging with options. Hedging with options comes out. Ready for this? February 2019. I know it's a ways away, but there's a lot I got to create for it and a lot I got to practice on it. So just know that I'm going to have 5 entire classes on nothing but this, and it's going to be revolutionary for most of you. So just be prepared for that. And of course, it's going to be here and available for anyone who is an active subscriber to Real Life Trading. So it's going to be really, really sick, totally cool. Just throwing that out in your calendar. Anyway, this little small tidbit. but I like Square, and my plan is on Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to be selling some puts. What day is today? 11 to 18. Look to sell 60 December. It's just kind of my note to myself. And am I going to get put at 60? Probably not. That's why I'm doing it. Because then after earnings evaporate, I'll get to buy them back, and then I can sell a 65 for December and just keep selling puts until I get some shares, which at some point will happen. And remember, when it comes to puts, you want to buy them at a resistance. You want to buy them at a high spot. You don't really want to buy them at a low price. Because again, you want the stock to go higher. So just imagine that they're worthless. Imagine they're going to go to zero anyway, and just kind of approach it with that perspective. So Square, anyway, congratulations. A lot of people making some money on Square for those option expirations, and we got a little bit later to go. JD.com. So JD with a bounce. I was messaging some people in Slack about when to do some covered calls and at what price and what expiration and all that jazz. There's a lot of different ones that were sold yesterday. Falco did a 30 for December. A few other people did 26s and 28s. And again, this protective put down here, probably going to expire worthless. Most likely. Still got 2 weeks on it. I kind of want it to expire worthless. But, I mean, right now, I'm down 25 cents on it. So if it goes a little bit lower, something like this, goes a little bit lower tomorrow, then I can start moving a stop or trailing a stop or just exit for a super, super, super small gain and buy more later. Because this really, again, this should start to be some kind of bounce for JD. I mean, if it doesn't start bouncing Monday, Tuesday, and we continue this waterfall, and there's no question we're not going to 20. This is the first time we've interacted with a 50, though, and that's the 10 EMA on the weekly. So we'll get to see. I mean, we're going to find out Monday, Tuesday. If we start breaking down and going lower, I'm thinking it bounces, but we'll find out. Here's some templates. Let's go look at relative strength index. And the reason I'm thinking it's going to start slowing down is you got some divergence. Got a little bit of bullish divergence here. That's what I'm kind of saying about now is when it should start chilling out and calming down some. These $33 calls are, once I sell this put, maybe buy another one, but they're pretty much almost all the way paid off. So that's good. So now you got some free leaps for a whole year and some change. And maybe JD is at 50 between now and then. That would be really cool. It's possible. I've seen crazier things happen. So anyway, a little bit of divergence on RSI. We go look at the weekly. I don't think there's any divergence. Nope. Well, not really. Okay. That's JD. Here's XLF, which is the very slow moving and tumultuously, has to be very patient financial sector. And you got yourself an island reversal on the hourly chart. There it is. So you have a double gap action right in here. Double gap, which means it probably fills, but if it doesn't and it keeps trading sideways and starts bouncing and breaking higher, then you're going to be looking for long. I mean, if we hang out and do something like this and break above this candle, that resistance, you're looking at getting in bullish, I would imagine. And again, we don't have to. I know we have a long way to go until Monday. And I hope everyone has a great, safe, and exciting weekend. Kind of looks like we're trying to build an invert head and shoulders pattern. Again, this gap, that's why I think this gap should fill. But if it doesn't, man, if we get a really good bullish day or a good bullish gap on Monday, we could fly. Because I want everyone to know this today is a retest. This is it. A little bit of a lower shadow, a little bit of a bearish candle. We did pull back. So if we get a good gap and we start running on Monday, I'm totally fine to go bullish. The gap will fill, I do believe, but it doesn't have to be this week. So if we start running and just crushing higher, and then we rotate back down, great. If I go back to the 2015, 2016, which a lot of people are kind of using to help this move, you can see that we really did fill a lot of the gaps down here. But kind of like this gap, I mean, this one right here. We traded up, we retested, and then when the very next day is we bounced. So we never actually filled it. And then we ran and ran and ran, and then we rolled over and filled it on this side, coming down. And we ran and ran and ran, and then traded back up, and then it acted, the exact same gap acted as a perfect resistance. Look at that. Perfect resistance going forward. Boom, boom, bam. So on today, I mean, if you're drawing support and resistance using XLF and you want a good line, I mean, you're going to get a real good line with this gap right here. Going forward, that will be a pretty important pivot, 2604. Next, I already looked at FAS, but it's pretty much the exact same thing as XLF, just more volatile. And you'll notice a similar line to FAS as XLF, which is the one that runs right through kind of like the double gap action that we received recently, and also is the exact low for this candle. That's why I'd love to see a trade down, a gap fill, and then a break higher. I'm all for it. All for that. So that's FAS. Here is BNS, Bank of Nova Scotia. I think this is on, did you guys want this on the TSX or the NYSE? I'll do both, just in case. The NYSE and New York Stock Exchange, I mean, solid support. Good old Bank of Nova Scotia. You got a few really good support levels in here. So this by no means should break. And if it does, it's going to go lower, unquestionably. So this really cute high wave candle, I love this really small gap. And today, in fact, closed 1 penny away from a perfect doji. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens. But if we break above that doji, you would go long. And if it kind of rolls over, go a little bit bearish. So if you're looking at it on the TSX, so here's a TSX. And I do believe they pay a solid dividend, 4%. If it's just me, and it is right now, it's just me talking, just me and the birds, as they say. I don't know who says it, but I would peel in a very small position here if I'm doing a long-term play. If I'm doing a dividend, like accumulation type of approach, very nice pullback, no denying it, but that is a head and shoulders everywhere you slice it. It just is. So a little of a warning signal, I feel like, and we could trade up higher, fill this gap, retest this gap, start rolling over. I don't know what it's going to do, but I mean, as far as a picture perfect head and shoulders on all time frames, that's it. So if you do buy, you can also buy some longer term puts. Maybe you get into a longer term collar and play it that way. But yeah, if I was doing it from a dividend approach, I would be just a little cautious here. Now, I said the exact same thing, just so that we're all on the same page over here. I remember looking at Bank of Nova Scotia. I said the exact same thing here. And you can see that it did break down. It did retest. It did make a lower low. And then that was it. And then it started screaming, and you missed out on 30% upward movement if you didn't get in. I don't know if that was hitting some long-term averages or not. Let's check. Yes. The 100. So at least you had something to bounce off of. So yeah, if you're looking at getting in, you can tiptoe in and then maybe buy a little bit more off of the 100. Whew. Bank of Nova Scotia. Looking rough. Visa. Just turn on that hourly chart and you will see an ugly channel. Real ugly. Like mean the third grade ugly. Here's your support resistance, and you can see we went a little bit lower, which means that we eventually could probably do the exact same thing on the upside. So if we do eventually trade up higher into here, it'll probably be the exact same amount, and we'll retest back into that channel to then only stop some people out and eventually go higher. Trade relatively sideways. Obviously, it's choppy, but I do like the overall lower shadow. I like the volume. And again, if we have a strong day next week and we break out of here, awesome. This is a consolidation. You do get a really good gap and go, and it's just going to take some time. Most likely we hop around and chop around and ping and pong. And that's about it. Okay. Eventually, though, I'm assuming we break out higher. Bank of America. So BAC, Bank of America, trading down to the 100. Probably going to form an inside candle. I mean, we can almost draw this pennant pattern that's going to form on this. And again, more than likely, we break out bullish. We don't have to, and we should be ready if we do break down bearish. But the daily time frame on Bank of America, yep, you're just going to draw. You're going to have a little bit of a pattern like that. And if we break out and we close above Monday, Tuesday, strong, should run. And if we trade back down into that support, which is, again, kind of likely, buy the dip. Buy low, sell high. It's gonna be hard to buy down there. It's gonna be scary, but worth it. QD, part of the Chinese play, a profitable company, and like I said, unless they're just cooking the books, which is, I mean, it's not that that's never happened before. I would look to get in bullish above 490. And trade it back down to a good support, which is this 408 price point. And we're just going to have to watch what QD does. But am I trying to pick the bottom on this one? Also, I am. Yeah. And you'll notice the ones I'm trying to pick the bottom on are IPOs that have just gotten absolutely wrecked. Oh, man. Tim says China is going to have a high tweetability index for a while. Should be fun. Tell me about it, man. Whatever Trump wants is he's going to get when it goes to China and the tweets and what they're saying. One good tweet, it's all. I mean, it's just pack on and booming. And because again, I think that they're not worried about necessarily the tariffs. They're just worried that. I mean, I don't know exactly how to put it in words, but I guess it's just. They don't want to make America mad. Maybe we just stop stuff altogether. Maybe they don't know what the Trumpster is going to do. All right, guys, no more trade with China at all. Bye, China. See you later. Could he say that? Yeah. Would he mean it? Probably not. But, I mean, that's probably the underlying fear. And, I have no idea if that occurs. I mean, it's going to go lower, obviously, if that happened. But most of these companies aren't really impacted by any tariffs. And so it's mostly just kind of like a macroeconomic fear that's kind of floating in. So one good move, one good pop out of here, and a lot of these Chinese stocks are going to start flying. VIPs VIPS probably going to zero, but before that happens, it might get a rally. Here is the monthly chart, and you've been down now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months in a row. So if I had to find a pattern that looks similar, I'd have to look at this, where it just gets reamed and then pops higher only to fail. So if we do that, and then we get a little bit of a bullish pop, and then we rotate down. So yeah, I mean, could we play some quick bull money on VIPs? Sure. Daily chart, good volume, high wave candle, looking toasty. I like the volume a lot, and I think this is a wave 3. If we're looking at the hourly chart, so kind of a 1 of some kind, an ugly 2, a 3, and we're kind of getting into a 4. Sharon says, gotta leave early. Have a good weekend, everyone. You too, Miss Baldwin. Thanks for being incredible. I appreciate you and Donnie tremendously. Have a great weekend. So that's the thing on VIPs. I would just say give that one a little bit of a rest. A day is really all it needs. But if you're looking for a quick counter trend bull play, if that's kind of your thing, if you like those setups, this looks like it would be one. Just a few more. Here's Billy Billy. And Billy Billy did close above the pink line today. It didn't yesterday, but it did today. Now, granted, it's closed above the pink line before with a bearish candle. So now you'd be looking for simply some higher highs and higher lows. We're going to keep a close eye on BILI, and I'm just going to draw this resistance line in here so that I have it. Yep, just start watching it. I mean, a breakout, a close above, a chop sideways, some type of good bullish close, something, and I could see it go higher easily, and something like that. So yeah. Let's throw this on the list Tuesday. All right. So that's BILI. Here's Goldman Sachs, GS. Goldman Sachs, double bottom, high wave candle, sideways. Did not play the bull put spread off the 200. Should have. Didn't. It wasn't out of fear. I think it was just out of buying power. So I couldn't really do enough to make it worth my while without making it too much, without doing too many contracts. So yeah, I mean, simple as fact, Goldman Sachs bounced off the 200 on the weekly chart. Congrats if you played it. I did not. If you did something with it, wonderful job. Let me know, because you beat me and you deserve some freaking trader points if that's the case. I do like what NVIDIA is doing. So there are about 10 of you in this particular put sale on NVIDIA, and you could not ask for a better candle on the weekly. So this is the daily chart. I faded NVIDIA for an R on the 31st, and now you have a high wave bearish candle, pretty much like most of the market. I think we rotate down a little bit lower before we bounce, but the December 170 put sale, I'm not really that afraid about, because NVIDIA was literally, this is an actual number, 290 a month ago. 1 month. That's 120 point difference. That's huge. So yeah, put me at 170. I'm fine with that. I mean, even if I get put at 170 and what? It rotates back up to 220. 220. That's 50 points. Wow, NVIDIA. So, yep, we're just going to hang out, and I think we'll probably rotate back down to 187 and something, but that's about it. Here is CI, Cigna, and CI is chilling. Weekly chart, upper shadow. What I like about Cigna is I like this high wave candle. And I like the fact that this candle is almost a perfect inside day. So I wanted to put Cigna on our list and come back to it just to see what it was doing and see if it hangs out in this range and trade sideways for another day or two before going long. So I'm going to also put this on the list and really just watch it. Because again, I just like the high wave candle. I like the fact that today's candle is almost an inside candle, which tells me that if it does flash lower, that's okay. But if it doesn't, it gets a small little doji and then it pops higher. I mean, it'll be a good trend. Decent trend, nice upper shadow. Should have got in way long time ago. That I agree with, but just going to hang out on Cigna for a little bit. And two more. This is one that my buddy Kyle Williams wanted to make sure that we were looking at is Pet IQ. And I've played pets.com before. I've never played Pet IQ. This one does have put sale money at 25. You could get 30 cents for 7 points or 20% move lower. You could get 1%. Here's the daily chart on Pet IQ, and what Kyle's looking at is just a retest of this gap right here. So on earnings, which is around the corner, you can see pretty kind of acute support resistance, bullish gap action right there, breakdown, trade higher, similar to the market. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of stocks out there that look similar. Remember, when that occurs, you want to do your best to try to find something that looks different than the broader market, just to an extent. But if you are playing Pet IQ and you can get it around 28, I think that would be swimmingly delicious. And then Apple. Obviously, Apple had a gap down today. Never got into my red zone, though. This is the same red zone I haven't moved it. Thought we're going to get a white candle. For the most part, actually, the very beginning of the morning, Angela and a few other traders did play this bullish move in the morning. And if you played it on a 3-minute, 2-minute, or 1-minute, you made some good money. So this is the 2-minute candle. There's the hammer, and then just pop. Once it popped, it just rolled right over and really chopped around most of the day. So the thing is with Apple, this is a bearish gap and go. You do have a high wave candle with a lower shadow. And I would only go bearish with some puts if it closes below that low. And most specifically, it closes below this wick as well. So it closes below 204.15. Realistically, though, if it closes, it'll still retest and then go lower. So I'll leave that line on the charts. It did get a little bit of a bounce off the 100. I do love the fact, by the way, guys, love the fact that it barely made a new low on the daily. So could we bounce and have a really strong bullish day on Monday? Absolutely. Will we? I don't know. If we do, though, it would fill the gap. Right now, this is an island reversal, a 2-day island reversal on Apple. So this gap needs to fill within the next 2 to 3 weeks, because if it does not, Apple is going lower strongly. So we can buy some protective puts. We can load up because it'll go down to 192-ish, and that's where most people will be buying it. Falco says I sold a regular November 195 put. Uh-oh, Falco wants some more Apple, maybe. I like the 195, and I like November as well. Regular November, RF. Falco says, yes, give it to me. This 245 November covered call will expire worthless. That's always good to get a free dividend. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my thoughts on Apple. I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, Monday, Mentorship Monday. Get ready. As long as everything that I want to happen is going to happen on Monday, it'll be one of the best Mentorship Mondays of all time. I know I say that all the time, but this one's going to be fantastic. Got a lot of things to throw at you. Get strapped in. Get ready. It's coming your way. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Absolutely sensational time this week, this month. So much going on. Before we leave, actually, sorry, really quick, let me go look at these trades. I did get stopped out of both Progressive. So stupid Progressive got me, even though the market was going higher. And I had a beautiful bullish gap this morning. Everything I liked about it just didn't work. Oh, well, that sucked. Stopped out of Progressive and also stopped out of this Facebook option trade. That also got stopped out of today. Now, granted, I do still like this candle. I also love the fact that it did not close below 148.66. And as long as it does not do that, we should eventually go a little bit higher. So I will get that R back on Facebook. And then Celgene, I know Celgene popped through the stop. I'll probably maybe cancel that, but for right now, I'm gonna leave it open as is. KLAC did retest today. It did. I wanted it to trigger today, and it did trigger today. So KLAC is in. Procter & Gamble, we're in. So we filled on Procter & Gamble yesterday. And WHR, which is Whirlpool, was up about an R at one point during the day. And we'll see if that one continues. And that's pretty much it. That triggered in yesterday. So there we go. Those are some swings. And we'll see if those swings work out. We'll find out. Only one way to find out, and that's to trade together. You're amazing. I'll see you later. And until then, love life, live life, trade it. Bye.